All right. Here we are. We have made it to episode 184 of live drawing. Let me just close this window here so we don't get an echo or anything. All right. I hope everybody's okay and safe from all of the snow that had happened in this region, all up and down the Northeast. I am dealing with a very sore back, and my hands are bruised and swollen from shoveling more than I care to remember. But the walkway in front of where I live is perfectly clear, and I have a parking spot, so those are all good things. Hey, Martha's. I'm sore from all the shoveling. How are you doing? Any snow where you are? All right. We're still getting copies out to people. We've crossed the halfway point. I'll show off some of the box doodles that I have done. Did this Savage Dragon one. This one was fun, just kind of a headshot. City in the background. I like the Eric Larson stuff, so that one was fun to do. We did the Wolverine, or the Magneto on the stream. Did another Batman. Did another Conan. I don't know if I showed that one off last week, but this one I didn't. I did the Crow. I'm doing more independent comic characters, so you're going to see more indie stuff. I feel like we need to support one another more. The big companies don't need us advertising for them so often. And then this nice Mr. Monster that I did, which I posted just because I was pleased with it. I have got some new colors to play with on these boxes, different paint pens, and yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. Those are the current box doodles that we have done. I'll save that in case Jay shows up. I might have to grab the Savage Dragon again. We did finish that sketch cover last time. I did a few little tweaks to it of Undersea Hero swimming along, giving the salute with Lord Krakus. This will go out to a backer this week. Hey, Ethan, good to see you. This was another one of the mini sketches that I have going out to a backer for the early birds, with correlator saying, "I'm so ready for Kill Force," and there's an asterisk, and it says, "You'll get it after you read the book," which is true. That is a gag that you wouldn't understand if you didn't read the book yet. Next one. And then I did another Feathers and Jan, and then just a couple more full figure Undersea Heroes. I think we'll finish this one. We'll clip it, and then we'll do a box doodle. I think that's a good plan for the evening. Oh, I don't believe that at all, but it's kind of you to say. I love the kinetic energy in Eric's work. I think it's just I understand why people don't like the finish. You know, when I talk about drawing, I think about it in two fundamental ways: in the form and the finish. And Eric is just so exquisite at form that I don't miss having like a sharper finish to it. Like when he worked for Marvel and he had like a Randy Emberlin or one of these other inkers doing like a slicker finish to it. And I understand why people like that. I don't need it as much. I've always been more of a form person, you know, and he's such a huge fan of Jack Kirby, and that just comes through in his work. Thank you. Yeah, Yeah, it's just Jan and Feathers coming out of the water. I don't know if they're about to commit some crimes or something, but kind of, what would you say, just a little bit quieter piece. I saw some of the incredible work that came out of OAX that was this weekend. I don't know if anybody has watched, if you follow any of the comic art fans pages or just the individual artists that were there, but there was just some absolutely incredible artwork by like Adam Hughes and everybody that was down there. So some incredible Amanda Connor drawings coming out. She doesn't do big commissions all that often, so seeing people get those big commissions, I appreciate other people that can afford to pay these artists to do beautiful drawings that we can all enjoy looking at. I feel like when people want the main character generally if they're getting a character from a book they've never heard of. So anytime that I draw a character other than Undersea Hero, I try to make it funny or add a second character or a gag or something. I try to punch it up a little bit. I think I'm more of a form person than a finish, just because I don't think my finish is all that clean. I do think I have a distinct line. Like I do think that my line doesn't look like other artists, which I think is it's a double-edged sword because people do want like familiar looking stuff and they like a slicker finish, but I at least know when I see my stuff out there. And the last batch of Undersea Hero books are getting around even with the weather, so um, yeah. Had some make it out to Colorado, had some make it out to Nevada and some other places, so they're getting out there. There were some heading to the West Coast, and with the USPS with the weather and everything might take a little longer. So uh, I wish I had a rhyme or reason to the order in which I was doing things, other than just if they're on the list and their stuff is ready, it goes in whichever box is finished. Oh, thanks, Ethan. Yeah, we were just talking about that at dinner. Once we get to a certain point in the Kickstarter ones, we'll open up the website and we'll make the book available for order. So, but thank you. I will make sure to let you know when they are available. I will personally reach out. And if you have a local store when it goes out to the public, I'm with a store, I'm willing to obviously do wholesale or whatever for them to carry it. And obviously, I do try to make it worth their while. Um, I don't think that I can make the stands that I made free unless they order enough copies. If they wanted to buy the point of sale thing that I made, we could figure out what that would cost them. But I actually think I invested in those myself, um, so that the store owners had a good display to hopefully get their customers interested. And I just couldn't do that at a large scale. Thanks, Marthas. Yeah, any help in spreading the word when it goes out is supremely appreciated. And I forgot to mention CodCon is a show in April that I'll be doing in Hyannis, Massachusetts. So first one's at the end of March, March 29th. I'll be at the Franklin Elks Lodge for a little show by my old friend Harry. He's been doing shows for 30 years, formerly at North Attleboro. Yeah, I mean, I hope that when I can make it live, I'll have plenty of shipping stuff left over from the Kickstarter stuff that I can just get stuff out as quick as possible. But yeah, I will continue to do the box doodles for as long as I can, and unless I for some reason got like a million book orders, which I don't think would happen. Um, I think it's just going to be my friends that either missed the Kickstarter or just didn't have the funds at the time, which is totally cool. Believe me, we all got bills to pay. Comic books are for fun, not stress, when it comes to consuming them. At least I think they are, I mean, I think some people take them super seriously with their condition and collectability aspects, but I find it pretty laid back. The books I've been reading, I got a nice stack of indie books from a dealer in, where the hell was I? I can't remember. Anyway, in Massachusetts, it was Atomic Blue was the name of the dealer, and they are at the flea market in. That's where I get my haircut, which I did finally get a haircut. I will look it up. I will be a good person. I will look up their stuff there at the Cranberry Highway Flea Market, I think is where it is. Wareham. Aha, I remembered. In Wareham. And he does $2 books. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I'll definitely, when I finally get around to updating our website, I will post the piece that you did. I definitely want to post that on the website. But if you've cruised the website recently, you definitely see that I haven't had time to update it at all, which is bad. But we all got stuff to do. And in the last 3 days, I've done a lot of shoveling. A lot. I've got some older neighbors and had to shovel out the fire hydrant. Did a lot of shoveling. So. And of course, our town didn't even get most of our street plowed, so. Yeah, I mean, about the time I started doing the short for Dime Box, that's about when the store will open, because I'll be far enough along, or I won't be drawn on box doodles and stuff. At least I don't think so, unless, like I said, we somehow get a bajillion orders. The business model of doing sketches on everyone's box is not designed for scale, so everybody gets a note and they get their book, and if they want it signed, it gets signed. I will be adding a new thing to my convention stuff this year. I was asked to submit my rates and things to a couple of conventions as far as like pre-show commissions go. And one of the things I am adding that I used to do for free were those little remarks of either like Ninja Turtles or the Tick that take very little time. I'll now be adding those to like graded signatures. Those will be like for donations. So there'll be donations to, generally it's the Greater Boston Food Bank. Sometimes it's a local food bank or a women's shelter that I donate the money to. But I always post the donation receipt online, and everybody gets fully transparent. So sometimes I do the Heroes Initiative jar if I'm at a show that is sponsored by the Hero Initiative. I had reached out to them at one point about making it official where I donate all of the signature money to them, but they did not get back to me, or maybe they didn't think it was feasible or something. I don't know, or they thought I was crazy. Oh wow, that is that's the algorithm for you. You can see that's pretty much how it'll be. I'll add some extra ink to flatten it out, but darken in some of the blacks that are on the line art. And then I don't even use like a fancy thing. I usually use just a pair of scissors to clip them, but the scissors I used are missing. Grab scissors. Hold on. I don't remember what these cost. I don't think that early bird cost very much. Yeah. Yeah, it just depends. It depends on the state taxes, if that's for federal, and that's by state. And I make no official tax recommendations for anyone. I take all my tax stuff to my tax person, and they take care of it. And I highly recommend. That is one thing I do recommend. If you're doing business taxes, find a good accountant. I actually have to go see my accountant next month, so get this year's taxes finished and buttoned up. This is just straight up ink. This is India ink. This is Dr. Phil Martin's Black Star Matte. I like the matte finish. It just has a nice softness to it. I never liked the glossy black finish, so when this dries, it's completely matte. And I think that it matches better with most liner pens, like Pitt pens and stuff like that. Let me see what these things cost. $35 plus shipping. So for like 40 some odd dollars, less than $50, you got the full sketch, which normally costs like 80 some odd dollars by itself. All right, we'll grab ourselves a box. Do a box doodle. Any requests for characters on the box doodle? Doing mostly indie characters, I was thinking. Anybody ever read Nexus? That was a cool comic book. I don't know that one. Here we go, I've got some reference. I actually have an original by I'll have to. I've never read that one. I'll have to check that one out. Nexus is an executioner who dreams of criminals doing bad things, and then he goes out and tries to stop them. If you haven't read Nexus, there's a great series from First Comics, before that Capital, and then after that Dark Horse. But during the first years, there was this stretch that they had where Steve Rude took some time off from the book, and they had what I argue is the greatest succession of one-shot fill-in artists of all time. And they had Jose Garcia Lopez, Mike Mignola, Adam Hughes, and Paul Smith just boom, 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 like all doing just fill-in issues. I'll have to check that out. That sounds pretty cool. It's just a quick rough. Although I do think there's like a little bit of fabric underneath his nose. I'm having to pull up reference, so. Yeah. There's like a little bit, although I don't know from that angle you would see it, but we'll rough it in. We're just having some fun. Doing some fan art for indie comics. I thought about drawing Gru the Wanderer, but it's such a departure from like the action comic style I've been drawing lately. I just didn't want to be frustrated by it. I have no affiliation with this book at all, other than just I enjoyed reading it for a long time. It's also a book that, like, for those of us that like would buy bargain comics, it was random issues you would find in the dollar bins, you know. And they did a bunch of miniseries. He was in Dark Horse Presents at one point. It's just a book that was available at less of an entrance fee as like a new comic when I was a kid. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if 80s indie books have changed as far as their position in the bins at conventions. You know, but first comics, PC comics, you would see all sorts of stuff like that. Oh, did I miss missed a hello? Nazul something. Hello, welcome aboard. Left-handed. Hey, I'm glad you think it's working. I've been trying to just be a little nicer to myself instead of just hating everything I draw. That's been an interesting exercise. Trying not to overthink symmetry. That's been, you know, leaning into asymmetry. It's been kind of an area of focus lately. That and shoveling snow and my back hurting. That's been most of the... I don't remember what his arms look like, if I'm being honest. Okay, so there's like the shoulder bit, and then that comes down like this. Like that. Couldn't remember. It's been a minute. So. Yeah, I'm gonna draw some of my friends' books. Like, that's another thing I'll do. Like one night we'll do a new Zodiacs drawing. We'll do a or Happenouts drawing. We'll do some fun indie stuff. I think that would be a better use of my personal time than just drawing characters everybody knows so well. Now I know that that doesn't help me in the algorithm or anything, but it does. I do feel better about spending my time spreading the good word about indie comics because I think that there's so many worthwhile ones out there for people to read. Running out of lead every time I turn around. Right now I'm drawing a character called Nexus, Ethan. It's a character created by Steve Rude and Mike Barron. They had an ongoing series with a company called First for many years, and then they did a series of issues with Dark Horse. Before that, they were briefly with a company called Capital, but Capital went out of business very early, and all their characters got snapped up by First Comics. And Nexus is an executioner. He dreams of things happening, and that is good. That is good to know for things we're discussing. It's a good tip. But yeah, there's tons of collected editions out there. I would say it gets its footing about 7 or 8 issues in, and you just see with each issue, Steve Rude just like levels up and levels up and levels up, and it just gets better and better. And then very, very quickly, he has his matured style, and he starts doing painted covers instead of just drawn covers, and they're just beautiful. It's just good comic stuff, good fun comics. So. Especially if you dig indies. If you want to, I don't. I don't know if I'll have all the answers, but I can answer. Try to answer any questions. Yeah, you could do that. That's, however you think best tells the story. That's the whole deal with doing books like that. I have an original Steve Ruder or something. See if it's in here. It's a bunch of originals from different artists I've gotten over the years. I don't think it's. I've got binders, so like I don't know if it's in this one or another one. Yeah, I think it's in the other one. Yeah. Yep, here it is. It's an original drawn by the creator of the character. Got this at Boston Comic Con in 2019. So, pretty neat when you get to see it. Oh, I know, you could draw this character in 2 seconds in his sleep. Yeah, I don't have any rules for format or anything. It's just gonna, if you wanted to like make it all horizontal, people would just have to turn the comic sideways. Did that once with in the first dime box that I did years ago. Nate Lovett did the X Will Eisner character, and he did them all strip style, and they were all horizontal. So whenever you got to one of his pages, which were like littered throughout the book, you had to turn the book. My pens are running out of juice. No, that's the only one we did years ago, and then we all ran off and did other things. Nate is one person I would reach out to just to see if he'd want to do a pinup or something. I'd have to pay the guy, which I'm not opposed to doing, but that would change the contractual situation with his part of the book. We'd have to hammer that out. But then again, he might just do it for fun because it's a fun thing amongst friends. So let's see if I can twist his arm, as they say in these parts. messed that up. Yeah, we had plans on doing, other issues, but it was one of those where it's like organizing it was the hardest part because you're working with multiple artists on the same thing, and it's just a scheduling thing, and we're all doing it kind of as a goof. I try to have fun with my titles as I put them on here. The title for this week is "More Shovel Than Man," and that's how I feel. Maybe something like this. Nate's a terrific artist. He's just he's a busy guy. I've known Nate. Nate's one of my oldest friends in the industry, so as far as like being able to call him, he was actually kind of mad that he didn't get in on the Undersea Hero covers. But I told him when I reached out to him so long ago because it took forever. He was knee deep in a big project at the time, so I said I'd circle back and hit him up for the next one. Yeah, I mean, I should get Nate on the show at some point. I'm just not good at like lining up guests or anything because it's not really like my gig as far as what I do. I just put on a show of whatever I'm working on that week. That's kind of been my sustainable model. Some people can put more production and time into their stuff. A few people we've had people on, like Allison comes on because she's always down when she doesn't have her gaming stuff going on. I forgot what color his energy blasts are. I think they're blue, or are they yellow? Oh, they've been both. So whatever we think looks good. All right. I think we're all set as far as reference goes. We can just noodle along the rest of the way here. If I was doing a pinup or something, if I ever had the opportunity to do something like that, I would spend much more time on it, and rulers would be involved. There'd be all kinds of things. If Steve ever wanted something, but he has no reason to. He's a world-class artist, so. Most of the books I put on my website are old stuff. going to be quite a bit of black on this piece. Hey, Ethan. Yeah, good luck with your class. It was good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by. Jiu-jitsu. Not messing with that guy. There was a jiu-jitsu place near a poke bowl place that my wife liked, and was always busy. So I don't know if there's like a big uptick in jiu-jitsu in modern times. Did some TikTokers start doing jiu-jitsu and it's popular again? I don't know. Oh, we got a solicitor. That's when you know you made it, is when the solicitors start hitting you up. That's how I knew my Kickstarter was doing well, was when I was bombarded with people trying to like solicit money from the Kickstarter. It wasn't when I got funded. It wasn't when I got the Projects We Love badge. It was entirely when people were like, hey, can we have some of that? Wish I refilled my pen before this started. You're gonna watch me struggling to just put down ink because it's out of ink. We'll do our best. 8 pages in an hour. That's a lot. Although I think if you simplify, and I was talking about this with a writer the other day online who was just mad that they, couldn't draw, and I asked them if they could do really simple drawings because I know I, as a reader, much prefer simple drawings to something that's not drawn, be it a photograph or obviously some sort of image generator. And quite frankly, I don't think image generators deserve to be called AI. They're just image generators. It sounds less cool when you call them that, and they're less likely to keep getting billions of dollars in funding. It loses this idea of a collective inevitability. Come on. Oh, that's cool. Like a mini comic. I dig it, yeah. But yeah, we were talking about just having simple drawings versus like, trying to have every page look like it was drawn by, Jorge Zafino or some very detailed artist. Think of great comics that like Bone or any number of books that have just been exorbitantly popular that just had very simple drawing, or deceptively simple in the case of a lot of Bone, but like the character designs are simple for the main characters. Gotta wait for this to dry a little bit before I get to our next part, but I guess I could flip it over and work on the background. Let me see if I have just a little lid here that I can use for ink or something. Of course, it's got stuff in it. Old school, just like using it as like a dip pen or whatever. Yeah, I stopped using dip pens as soon as I found these Kiritaki brush pens that had just as good of bristles as some of those old school dip pens. Nine o'clock. We're moving right on schedule. I think this will probably get done. 9:30 ish. And I gotta pack up to go to work tomorrow, so gotta try to get done on time. Yeah, studying that stuff is important. I try to keep a sketchbook going. Otherwise, I have just doodles on paper that I'll do during the day for those sorts of studies while I'm talking on the phone or whatever. Well, it helps me get my other work done. Keeps the creative brain moving. Object in motion remains in motion. All that jazz. Oops. Of course, it's smudged. We'll try to zhuzh it up when it does its thing. This goes over here, so I should bring this up just a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Finding those, as far as the ear and stuff, finding those, what I generally call anchors to that part of the figure, the head, or whatever you're drawing. Finding your anchor for a particular shot, and then using that with your lighting, using that with all sorts of stuff. That's a very good thing to learn. Hey, Dennis, good to see you, man. How's it going on your end? How's the shoveling in your neck of the woods? Is your back as sore as mine is as far as snow shoveling goes? Although I think you're younger than I am, so. Well, we all do our best. My road is half plowed. Plowed going one direction, but not the other. So we'll see how it is going to work tomorrow. Been working remotely the last few days, and we'll see how it goes. Try to erase this without smudging anything. If you thought I was younger than you and I thought you were younger than me, so yeah, we'll just say we're the same age. I think that's entirely fair. I think that's a reasonable outcome. As far as driving goes, it's okay. The side streets are tough. Like I live on a side street, so it's like I said, not fully plowed, and you know, you'd think by now they would have plowed everything, but they have not. So, but we'll figure it out in the morning. Everything is shoveled, so like I am the walking wounded as far as back pain and hand pain from chipping ice. I don't think getting out will be the problem. I think when I get home, I think parking will be the problem. Like when I come back from work and stuff. All right. Marker pen. Yeah, if you got a long driveway, snowblower all the way. Oh, nice. More cartoons, more strips, or are you just doing more like figure drawings and studies and stuff? Yeah, have you been catching Joe's whatnot streams? Oh, nice. Concept sketches. Very cool. I think we want blue, right? Everybody likes blue. I promise the blue will make sense as we move forward. It'll make sense, I promise. Just bear with me. This is the sort of stuff that you plan out in your head as you're going. Hey, Kevin, glad it got there. This is a character called Nexus. If you've ever, if you like indie comics of the 80s, this is one by Steve Rude that I highly recommend. And Mike Barron. Steve is just an incredible artist who actually showed up. I bought a sketch of this character from Steve um, at the 2019 Boston Comic Con. Just a quick little head sketch. So I don't think it's a character I've ever drawn before, but we're just gonna have fun. I did the Mr. Monster piece, so I've just been drawing more indie characters, just because I think that it's better use of my time promoting creator-owned and creator-made characters, and introduce people to stuff that maybe they haven't seen before. I really don't know Mike at all, so had one run-in with him at what do you call it? Colorado Springs Comic Con. Steve was super nice when I met him at Boston that year. So, and it's one of those early indie books. I just found it in dollar bins. Forgot to erase some. Yeah, when you get a sketch from somebody that's drawn a character for years and years, it's got a nice sharpness to the line. Confidence. What could Hammerhead Ink hook me up with? I don't know. I don't know, Kevin. I'm doing okay. Someday we'll just be at a show at the same time. I think that would be the delight. Just getting to hang out. I haven't gotten to do that in some time. You gonna be at Heroes this year, Kevin? You gonna go down there? I know that's a good spot for sketches, although you probably have Aquaman sketches from everyone that's ever there. So I'm just glad you finally got the book, Kevin. You were one of the biggest supporters of me and the project and everything, and I wanted to make sure uh, you got everything that you hoped it would be. So I will say that your box doodle was one of the harder ones to do because it was on a different shaped box. It wasn't on one of those mailers. So I've got a few more of those I got to do. So hopefully they come out okay. Oh, sure, yeah. If you make the trip, I will make sure at least one night we can get a bite to eat. I'm totally new to this to that show, so I will have to take your recommendations for that sort of stuff. Brazilian steakhouse. I will trust the knowledge. It sounds like something AC would enjoy. Somebody I haven't seen either in some time. I keep meaning to do something for their anthology book. I always forget and miss their deadline. Good on them for having such a regular release schedule. Oh, he did. I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. I was so happy to buy their first comic when they were first time I met he and Tim, and they were first talking about, oh, they love comics, they want to do comics. How do we break into comics? And I just told them, get your buddies together and do a few pages and make an anthology. And they have taken that, ran with it, and cooked with it. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that suggested it. But when I finally got to pick up their book from them at a show, I was just thrilled because they put their money where their mouth was. They made it happen. Um, There it is. AAA card. And I want some bright color on here, so let's get some pink in here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up what his check out that cover. I know Tim's been taking a break from doing comics and stuff, but both good dudes. Thanks, Kevin. I try to be a nice guy. As you are, sir. Still getting those orders fulfilled, so I'll feel a lot better once we're on the other side of those. That's when I'll be happy as a clam. As my mother would say. Oh, is he? I haven't seen his stuff in a long time. He was always just doing. He was off doing his own thing last time I saw him. So wherever he finds his voice. Got a Presto pen. Circle templates. Probably not, right? Probably left those. Oh, they are here. How about that? Almost like I did show prep. Huh? All right, cool. Bleed-proof light on there. Hey, good for him. No judgment. Let me get a piece of paper to serve as a poor man's masking. There we go. Troubles getting it that far with my silly little mouse. What time is it? 9:30. We're gonna run a little over. Oh well. That's what happens when I get carried away on these things. Don't tell my wife. Spending too much time on those free sketches. Yeah. But they make people happy, so that's my justification, I guess. I've done these with a toothbrush. I've done them with the poor man's airbrush. They get different shaped dots when you do them different ways. Done the toothbrush for sure. The expired AAA card has been the choice as of late. I've sung the praises of this material many times, these Presto pens from Pentel. You can see even these Pasca pens, Pasca, however you pronounce it, they're not pure white. This is the only pure white that I've ever found, so I even still have to go back in and create a second layer. Yeah, emergency roadside assistance and spatter. They are not a sponsor. This is a free endorsement, I suppose. Like when I endorse jet pens, like there's just nobody else that has the stuff. So I've been a AAA member for God, a million years. And then I wanted to grab our circle tool and just add a little bit of a graphical element. A little bit more blue up here. Hey, love you too, Kevin. I'll catch you later, man. Enjoy the Whatnot stream. But yeah, I think we're done. I think we made it to where we wanted to be. I'll sign it down here. I'm going to try doing one of these. There we go, like this. Let that dry for a second. All right, there we go. That's our drawing for the night. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. And I hope everybody has a safe week and be careful out there in the snow. And I hope you all have a good weekend. So yeah, I'll talk to you later, everybody, and have a good night. Bye.